Okay, brother. Right
Yes,
here is
sir.
good.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What's your name?
Sal.
Sal? All right,
Salvador.
Sal. I will get with y'all, brother. Y'all be blessed.
All right, man.
All right,
That was
man.
awesome,
Y'all
bro.
take care.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
For real, right? All right. Now we got 42 minutes together, bro. Where you going, dude? Bro. You
actually,
going to Round Rock or something, or what?
Bee Cave.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Hopefully, get a car out. Yeah, it was kind of ironic, when he started kind of explaining his story.
Yeah.
But kind of just being in the similar situation. This is the second time I've gotten in an Uber, and the last time it was a preacher's son, and he was very conflicted, like growing up, because he was like gay, and he felt weird about it. He kind of ran away. He was kind of telling me all his story, and he ended up just kind of falling back into Christ and kind of just learning to deal with his things, and he turned his resentment into his belief, and he was kind of just going off and kind of talking about it, and little things like that. I mean, they are encouraging. Like it's a weird thing, because I was raised Christian, and but since I was like 12, like we kind of slowed down a bit, and and kind of going back to the father and mother thing. My father went to jail, and they kind of kind of messed with the dynamic that we had built, so we didn't pick up on church as heavy and stuff like that, and but I've always believed in God. I don't go to church much. I maybe go 3-4 times a year, if that, right? So but it is something that I feel, I think, and I do believe in. When things are going good, I always thank God, and when things are bad, I kind of talk to him as well. But I've always wanted to kind of just get more involved and kind of just maybe make it Sundays an every week type of thing. And, I just never really pushed it hard enough, I guess. And when I was sitting in the Uber with that other Uber, I remember kind of telling myself like, oh, that was it was a cool conversation. It was good to talk about it. I prayed that night or whatever, just because I felt it. Like I felt like I had to, and and then I get in and I start hearing about this guy's testimony, and it was cool.
Amen.
And especially just again, I mean, I was doing maybe not the not best things for money, but I was making a lot of it, and just taking on a lot of responsibility, I think, from a young age. And again, I mean, it was a blessing because I helped out my family, but it was also, in a sense, it was double bladed, because I did, I had a lot of money, and I had a lot of money for a little kid to have, and that led on until coming to Texas State, and I had all this stuff, and last December, almost a year now, like the police and got raided and involved, and a bunch of money got seized, and everything that I kind of
comes along with that territory.
And what was my life, in a sense, since I was 15 years old, all I ever did was kind of, money was kind of was me, and I definitely turned that into my character, and a lot of my confidence came from that, and my sociability, and at least that's in my head, right? And all that got taken away, and in a sense, I feel like I kind of just moved on from a different person, where I had to kind of start new and always live, I lived nice, and I took care of my family, and now it's a little tougher, and I don't have money, I'm falling short now. I'm having to save money. I got a Tundra 2025 before this car that I'm going to see, and I got a Lexus. So I bought the Lexus cash, I got the Tundra, both of them lost, but this is the only time where now I don't even know if I'm gonna walk away with a car. All other times I knew I was gonna walk in and I was gonna choose and pick what I wanted, and I was gonna do whatever, and now I'm in a position where I am kind of just questioning it a lot, and that goes with everything, even just cutting down on meals, and like it's so, I don't know. I mean, again, and a lot of this whole year has definitely found myself alone, and like it was just, and again, when I am alone, it just kind of led me to kind of fall more into the idea of God, and like thoughts like that. And I guess even then, like sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if it's speaking to me or I'm talking to myself, and like sometimes I question
Nice.
that, you know, and I question that because I'm just like, am I just like, you know, because I have no one else to run to. I don't, you know, my family is, they come to me to ask, you know, for advice and questions. My friends the
Right.
same. So I feel like, again, and you know, I feel like I don't need it, but I don't necessarily get asked if I'm all right or anything like that, you know. And
This is my number, bro. If you ever need prayer.
cool, man. That's what you put on the poster?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man, and like it was just a year for me, and I think I fell into depression, man. Dopamine. I mean, I was moving things through a car, just to kind of put context, right? And all across the United States, I've been in 33 states, so I lived an amazing life as a kid, right? I'm 21 years old, and I have all this money, and I'm got all the girls, and you know, and
Right.
I was just distracted. I mean, I could care less on what happened, you know, like it was to a point where I didn't even believe it would, because I was just, something in me was just, I don't know, I felt like I was just, and again, I in a weird sense, because I know I was doing something bad, but that always led me to believe that God does have a better plan for me, because there's people every single day getting arrested, and I have, you know, I know the camera's on, so I don't want to incriminate, but you know, at this point, you know, I have 20 keys in my trunk, and I'm going to Chicago, and driving back with, you know, $2 million in my trunk. People are getting stopped every day, but it's never me, and I'm doing this. I'm talking about 4 times a month, man, and not because I need the money, because I have a bunch under my mattress. But I'm doing it because I'm
It's a lifestyle.
the rush.
It's your identity.
That's my identity, man. Oh yeah, where you? Hey, let's hang out. Nah, I can't, man. I gotta go to New York, man. New York? What the fuck? You're going out there again, man? Yeah. I'll be back. Coming back, getting tables and doing all this dumb, you know, dumb stuff. That was just me, you know, and the dopamine, you know, just the rush, having a cop behind me and not knowing if it's gonna happen or not, and then believing that it's not gonna happen, that I'm gonna be all right, and then getting away with it. It was just crazy stuff, and again, I know it's kind of weird to say, but I've always, especially now more than ever, but it's just like if God knew that my path didn't involve me getting in trouble, and He gave me He gave me all this glory, and He let me mess up and take advantage, and everything that He gave me, I wasted it on my own doing. No one else. I didn't get in a car crash and have to be, you know, I didn't lose. I spent every single dollar. I don't have a single dollar that I ever made from that, and that's because I had hundreds of thousands. And it just, in a weird way, and in this point of my life, it was just again when I talk about it, and when I, you know, I was depressed. You know, I had a very like you know, a character switch. I think I just, again, I feel like I died that year, and I was having to force myself to rebuild and, in a sense, be reborn, and I just am confused and as to if I'm reborn through Christ or if I'm just reborn and still trying to just figure things out. But one thing is for sure, I mean, I am wanting to, you know, just kind of do things better, in the sense of just working, doing a full-time job, doing, you know, the normal thing. I mean, I'm 23 years old, right? So there's so much that I kind of didn't see as normal, because I was just, you know, given all this from, you know, and man, I got cockroaches in my house. You can't eat a bowl of cereal without, you know, maybe finding a bug or two in my cereal. So I come from, you know, nothing, and then just given everything. I had just such a weird concept of life in general. So it's just been, you know, I was hurting people that were involved with me, women, because I wasn't, you know, putting all my commitment into things, and I was, you know, betraying friends and family, and, you know, it just, it bit me in the ass, and especially now, it's just like, I know now, like, there is just things, a lot of things that I want to do different, and you know, and whether that be, you know, mentally, physically, you know, spiritually, I think that I do always resort back to the idea of just like, if you know what's best for me, lead me that way, you know. And I'd kind of just, you know, and again, just little things like that. I don't even have a Bible. Like, I'm not reading scriptures every night, and sometimes I do question, would that benefit? Would that change anything? Would that, you know? So it's just been a weird and little things like this, I find them not to be coincidences sometimes. You know, I always kind of feel like there's reasons for it. Even speaking now about it, I could have definitely kept my mouth shut about a lot of things. But every chance I get to overspeak, I will, man. So
yeah.
So I got a new ride.
Well, look, dude, the Lord told me while you were talking, the Lord told me that you're supposed to be an evangelist, right? Which I think is going to become very natural to you when you step into that role and you discover exactly what it is, right? And you have this false identity on you. We can pray and the Lord will reveal a real identity for you of who he created you to be. The Bible says that he wrote a book about you before he knitted you in your mother's womb, right? And that book has a name on it, right? If you read the Bible, it'll say the book of John, the book of James, the book of Luke, the gospel according to. And that's what your book says too, man. The gospel according to Sal, but it doesn't say Salvador on there. It says the name that he created you to be. And so when you learn what that is and you start walking out that identity, the rest will be given on to you, right? Seek first his kingdom, his righteousness, and the rest will be given on to you, right? But you got to figure out what is it his kingdom look like? What does his righteousness look like? You know, asking the right questions. And you seem like a really intelligent young man, dude. So just learning to ask the right questions for him to reveal to you. Not really why this or why that, because his ways are higher than our ways, right? But like, what do you want me to learn from this? And he can teach you that. What are you doing in this season? What would you have me do? You know, where would you have me go? How would you have me move? Right? What, when, where, how, right? Just not really the why. You know? And then as far as coincidence, bro, check this out. I just learned this recently. The word coincidence is a 17th century word, right? So before the word coincidence, everything was known as God's timing, God's plan, God's divinity, God's this, God's that, right? And then the enemy comes in and introduces the word coincidence. That's where you get the phrase, there's no such thing as coincidence. Because before the word, there wasn't, right? People would say, what do you mean coincidence? There's no such thing. This is God's timing. No, it's just a coincidental thing. So things aren't for coincidence, man. You're being drawn by the Lord. He's drawing you near, and it's up to you to draw near to him now, which it seems like you're doing.
Definitely trying, man. Sometimes I feel like I don't try enough, but you know, it's just like, I don't know. I always just like, not that it's stressful, right? I kind of, in my head, I called myself stupid, but it's definitely not stressful, but it's like, I don't want to, sometimes I feel like I don't want to throw too much on myself where I start, you know, I don't know, maybe I go to a church and I don't get the best experience. I wouldn't even want to be talked out of that in myself, given the space and the place that I am now. It's like, I have done a lot of things alone, so when I do it alone, I feel like in my heart, at least, I'm trying, that's my hardest effort. That me being in a church, I feel like me being in my room, I could kind of reach more, like even when I speak to him and maybe getting a Bible or something, but you know, I truly don't know. You know, I can't even remember the last time I've been to a church, but sometimes I just speak to myself and I kind of just say certain things, and whether it's before bed, and they're usually, again, when something really great happens and when I'm feeling at my lowest is usually when I speak to him. I don't find myself doing it in between, and I guess that's kind of what I've been trying to start, like just kind of having it be like an everyday thing where it's not just like,
that's a good start, man. You know, seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, man. And you know what, this is so cool, man, is that before I left my house today, one of the things that I was thinking on was like, well, let me make this micro minute, you know, and what would you have me say today, Lord, to people? And the thing that had came to me, this is so cool that you're asking this, right? This just ties right into you. Is that, how do I know what I'm hearing is not my voice? Or how do I know what I'm hearing is not the chirping of some, you know, evil spirit? How do I know that what I hear is from the Lord, right? And the way you can be assured is by the way you start, right? You pray and you say, you know, it doesn't have to be this exact thing, but you say, Lord, I trust that I am safe in your presence, right? You say, Father, I just come to you and I put myself